Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Just just opening up Twitch right now. So yeah, I just played a pretty cool match. I thought you guys would like to see it. It's not going to be a full stream or anything. Actually, before I jump into the replay, why don't I just talk about the deck for a second? Just had the idea to jump back to 60 cards, just for fun, just see how it goes, you know? It's been so long. So I gotta shrink these cards a little bit. There's so many different cards in Soulherder decks. So yeah, you can see 60 cards, no Urian in the sideboard, but we do have a Urian in the main deck. Since I started playing 80 cards and we switched over to using Chord of Calling, I found that I like this card quite a lot in the deck. I like to be able to get the creature onto the battlefield right away. As opposed to Call, Eladamri's Call, which, you know, you really need to have Ether Vial if you want to get the creature into play on your opponent's turn or at instant speed at any point. So I had not been playing Force of Negation for a long time because it's similar to Ether Vial. It's just I think the effect gets significantly diluted if you're running 33% more cards in the deck. So I don't know. I felt like, you know, better for us with 80 cards with chords to be able to just have more Venters and just go like chord for those and be able to just ephemerate Venser to take things off the stack. But with 60 cards, it's a much tighter card pool. It's much easier to run an effective list with enough blue cards to be able to pitch to force consistently. So I don't know, speaking of blue cards, the ones that kind of round out the blue count, I had been on Wall of Roots, which is sort of sensational in a deck that wants to ramp and also wants to put up early defense and not just get run over by aggro decks. So Wall of Roots, you know, can provide 2 mana for Chord of Calling, is excellent, an excellent defender, but it's not blue. And I do want to run Force in the 60 cards, so I brought Coiling Oracle back, and it's felt really good. I haven't played with it in a while. Quite enjoyed Oracle in the few games that I played today. So I don't know. I feel like in the Urian lists, my eyes were sort of opened, or my boundaries, my borders, whatever works, were sort of broadened. As far as my understanding of what Soulherder might want to do as a deck. So with 80 cards, I guess we felt that there was more room for like a top end, you know. So some of us were running like 4 Siege Rhinos. At a certain point, you know, people were running, of course, the 4 Avalanche Riders in the Red Splash. But also some people just tried 4 Venters, including myself, as sort of a parallel in Bant without the Red Splash to bounce opponents' lands if we want to. Venter in a lot of situations is actually not that different from Avalanche Riders, but it's pretty clunky because they're legendary and didn't really feel like 4 Venters was the way to go. But anyhow, the point is that when we always had Urian as like a turn 5 play, or even earlier with ramp, we just had that consistent game plan. Suddenly, for me, running Dorks felt amazing because, you know, the sooner you can get Urian out, the better. The sooner you can chord for something bigger, you know, the better. So Dorks help you do that. So in these 80 card list, people were running like 8 Dorks, potentially plus some Wall of Roots, just trying as quickly as possible to get a board established, get Urian onto the battlefield. But now that we're at 60 cards, you know, or going back to 60 cards, you know, I do have a lot of experience with 60 cards, but now I have the benefit of the experience of having played 80 cards and the sort of game plan that engendered. So I have come to discover that I do like very much the ramp game plan in combination with really strong 4 and 5 drops, right? So obviously with 60 cards, we're not going to have that new companion rule where we have to pay 3 to go get Urian. If we want Urian, we either have to just draw it or chord for it. But chording for Urian is actually extremely strong because it is effectively a counter against any board wipe kind of effects, like if an opponent casts All Is Dust or Supreme Verdict, or if they minus Ugin. Imagine you've got a board of like 3-drop, 2-drop, 1-drop, like, I don't know, like 10 creatures, right? Like a full board. Opponent goes like -3 on Ugin. you flash in your Ryan, it's unaffected by Ugin's -3, and you just tuck your entire team away. Just really strong play in combination with Cord. And, you know, just a really strong play in general for 5 mana. So, yeah, we're going to try to ramp. We're going to try to get to things like Stonehorn. There's a lot of aggression, a lot of decks that want to win through combat. So, you know, Stonehorn going to do a good job there. Potentially getting it down on turn 3, going to be pretty good. Similarly, Venser in combination with Ephemerate early in the game can just shut an opponent out by bouncing lands. So I had just copied kind of an old 60-card list and then adjusted it to get to where I am here. I did trim 1 land. I was at 22. But after having played, let's see, where is my... After having played 29 lands, or rather 20, I think, what was it, 29... How does that scale up? I think I'd been on 28 for most of the time, but went up to 29 just recently because I felt like slightly light on lands. I think the math, you know, a third of 21 is going to be 7, so you'd want to run 28 in 80, but because of the extra variance, you can add a land. That's what I felt. I felt like I would rather get flooded than screwed with 80 cards. But now that we're back to like a more consistent 60 card build, I feel like 21 is a fine place to be, particularly with Hierarch and Oracle and Uro in the mix to sort of help us find some lands. We also get to dig with Quaddle, obviously. So I do have the Singleton Rhino. That's the only black in the whole list right now. And I've got the 1 Overgrown Tomb. Going to be able to get that off of any of these 8 green fetches. And this sideboard was just from the old list that I had copied. And with 60 cards, it's much more viable to run these kinds of singletons. You know, you're just going to have that much better chance to draw the cards as opposed to 80. Like, if you're running singletons and 80 cards, it's probably not going to really work out very well for you. You know, obviously with Cord, singleton creatures is the exception. But if you're running singleton spells, you know, you're not going to draw them with 80 cards. So anyhow, the point of this sort of mini stream here is just to show you guys a really fun replay against Tron that I just played. So I'm going to grab a glass of water and then we'll get started. So hello again to any of you guys joining me today. I'll be back in just a second. All right, let's take a look at that match. It's a beautiful day today in New York. It's getting humid already. That's kind of summer in New York for you. So it's like 75 degrees or something, but it's really humid. So you need a breeze to keep cool. So I'm just going to tell you guys I won this match up front. No hiding it. So I did win the die roll, and I got kind of a weird opening hand. 4 lands, Hierarch, Force, and Lavinia. Hey, Copper Spirits. I am in Brooklyn. Actually took a walk with my wife today. I haven't been going outside very often with COVID. Not necessarily because I'm afraid of getting infected or whatever, but just because my routine has just changed so radically. I've gotten so used to staying inside that I really need to make an effort to get outside these days. But I did take a walk with my wife, and we just stumbled across like a huge protest. They've been going on all around, and so we stood in solidarity with all our fellow protesters for 15 minutes. Took some pictures, applauded everybody, and yeah, I don't know. It's really nice outside. Copper Spirits, are you in New York as well? So anyhow, back to this hand. 4 lands, Hierarch, Lavinia. You know, it's decent-ish against a number of strategies. Like if it's like a humans type deck, and they have a semi-slow opening, we get to ramp into Lavinia, which is pretty powerful. If it's like a combo deck, we do have the Force in hand. We can just hard cast it turn 2 if we get a Hierarch out. It's one of these borderline hands that's quite mana heavy, but I chose to keep it. And the Tron opponent, again, I'm telling you guys that I know I'm playing against Tron, and Tron opponents find it hard to resist putting the Karn avatar, so that was also kind of a giveaway. Honestly, green Tron lists, I've played against a lot of them, and I haven't seen Gigantha that much. Like, people that I've talked to seem to think that this is just like stock in green Tron at this point, and like, I believe it. It's just, you know, I've only begun to see it like more recently. This is pretty cool art. This is like kind of holographic Gigantha with like tiny little deer running around. Yeah, upstate. Yeah, you know, it's like we didn't go out to protest. We just we're taking a walk, and actually kind of on the other side of this wooded area, we heard, you know, the honking and cheering, and so we just like walked around, and it was pretty nice. Like, cars driving by are like honking, and whenever a car honks, like, everybody goes bananas and cheers, and there's some cops standing around, you know, just watching everybody, not really doing anything. But yeah, you know, it's a very interesting time. So yeah, Green Tron running Gigantha. This is game one. Obviously against Tron, like, knowing ahead of time since it's a replay, this hand is quite sketchy. I mean, we do have the one force, but we obviously need to get things rolling pretty quickly. So Copper, let's see. So Ditto, even up. So you got some protests going on upstate. Yeah, it feels good, honestly. My doorman in my building I spoke to today. Now, I had a choice to force this, and given the fact that I don't really have much going on in my hand, I didn't feel like I could afford to pitch the Lavinia. If nothing else in this matchup, Lavinia is just going to be a win condition just to attack. But I was starting to say my doorman, when we came back inside, we told him about the little protest that we went to, and you know, he seems sort of upset that the he's from the Dominican Republic. He seems sort of upset that the protests were going on so long. He has a pretty high opinion of law enforcement, and he told me a story about how he got pulled over once and he was respectful, and the police just let him go. And I sort of get that, right? But I was talking to him just saying, you know, the problem is, you know, not every single cop. It's just when something bad happens, there's no accountability, and that's no good, right? Like, if somebody murders somebody and just is back on the beat the next day, like, that's pretty, I don't know, can't tolerate that. So that's why people are out in the streets, and I think he understood it, and, you know, there was no arguing or anything, but everybody's getting a little bit frayed around the edges right now. So anyhow, expedition map. The Tron opponent mulligan to 5, not unusual for them. Actually, not that bad typically, as long as they get Tron online by turn 3, like with anything, like be it a Worm Coil, Karn, or anything else, like a Walking Ballista, they're going to be happy. So this is the funny top deck here that started off this match, made it more enjoyable than it potentially could have been. So, obviously a sensational draw, probably the single best draw in this spot. I guess a Deputy would have been pretty similar. So yeah, with the 3 mana, ramping with Hierarch, I get to blow up the opponent's expedition map. Pretty sweet. Still have Force in case anything, you know, important happens, but it's turn 2, so I don't think anything is going to. And it doesn't, the opponent just passes. I do like to know what cards have been revealed, and so far it's only Gigantha, so I just want to make sure that that's dismissed. So I have a choice here, of whether to play Oracle or hold it in hand. Again, Lavinia, kind of a win condition, but with the body on the battlefield, there's really nothing preventing me from casting Oracle at this point. If they play Natural Tron and I have to counter like a Karn, I can just pitch Lavinia at this point, right? So let's get in with Night of Autumn. Opponent's going to go to 17. Second main, I am going to play the Coiling Oracle. And in this list, I do run the Tango lands, so I do my best to get the basics out early. So here's the Coiling Oracle. In theory, I could have cracked this Misty to thin the deck a little bit, because at this point, I'd probably rather not draw more lands, but fortunately, I did hit another Oracle, which we're happy to cast here. So you see, I got one of these Tango lands. And I don't know, with Chord in the deck, I just felt like green was the better choice than blue here. I do have the Prairie Stream as well as the Canopy Vista, and I do have blue in hand anyway, so second Coiling Oracle hits a Hierarch, so quite a nice board, still with cards in hand. That's what these sort of value 2-drops will do for you. So opponent did not hit Natural Tron, so getting a bit lucky here, and they just pass, right? So, okay, here are drawn lands. play the Hierarch, and it doesn't really make a difference here if I attack with all 3 or just 1 with the Exalted, so just get in with the 1. In hindsight, I realized, it's probably better to attack with all 3, just because if the opponent has a random Dismember or something, we still get in for a couple points of damage. And at this point, I'm definitely not going to run out the Lavinia, just because it would leave me shields down. Actually, I don't have mana currently, right? But even if I could, I wouldn't want to run it out. We do want... well, we don't want to overextend. There's really no reason to, right? I do have hard cast force up here. So opponent hits a 3rd tower. So being able to blow up that expedition map, obviously a huge deal in this match. Or rather, in this game, I get to go get black mana since I'm not being bothered very much by the Tron player. So realizing my mistake of the previous turn, I do get in with all 3 creatures here. Opponent's going to go down to 9. Path gives us a little protection against random stuff that they might play. They do run a good amount of creatures. Some lists run Thought-Knot Seers, but pretty much all lists run like Ulamog and Wormcoil Engine. Still not going to play Lavinia. Definitely not going to go shields down with the Force of Negation. Opponent top decks an Expedition map, and I'm going to immediately force it. There's no way they're slow rolling anything here. It's not how Tron plays. It doesn't make sense within their strategy to slow roll anything. So I see an Expedition map. It means Tron would get online, and without any other way to sort of deal with it. Like I'm not going to let them play Expedition map, crack it, and then cast Ulamog next turn or something, right? So easy choice to counter the Expedition map. I would love to be able to draw into like a Chord or a just straight up an Eternal Witness to go get Force of Negation back. But that is not what happened. So I drew another Hierarch, which means we can swing for a bit more damage this turn. It's a 2-turn clock. And we'll swing with this guy, and really not a lot the opponent can do at this point. If they rip Natural Tron, I guess they can play Ulamog and... play Ulamog and kill, I guess, whatever, but then I get to path the Ulamog. They're going to be at 4, and then I can attack with either of my Coiling Oracles. Ballista, if they like draw Natural Tron and have a Ballista in hand, that would be weird, since they would have just played it out at this point, right? Karn doesn't really do anything. Ulamog is the out, I guess, if they have if they draw into Natural Tron and hit Ulamog, then I just lose my board, which is a bummer. Or would be a bummer, but wasn't a bummer. So that's when the opponent scooped. I guess they didn't hit the Tron, and we don't know, what they have in hand. But yeah. Anyhow, awesome top deck hitting that Night of Autumn on my very first draw on turn 2. So that was game 1, and not very exciting because the opponent didn't play any spells. But game 2 was rather interesting. All right. So obviously, opponent going to be on the play this time. I always get such a kick out of the Karn avatar. I mean, I guess maybe we would have maybe some of us would have Urian avatars or Soulherder avatars, but it's so on the nose. You really don't want the opponent to know what you're playing before the game starts, It's probably minimal percentage points. I'm starting to think about which opening hands I should keep. Actually, it's not very minimal, right? If I know I'm playing against Tron or have a good assumption, I'm going to keep very different hands than if I'm playing against an unknown deck. So yeah, this is a snap keep. It's not incredibly powerful, but we only have limited tools against Tron, and this has some of those tools. So if opponent goes turn 1 map, we have that covered again, because Pithing Needle can just shut it off. But as it turned out, they just had an Urza's Power Plant. They did keep 7 this game, so I feel like we're just heading straight towards Natural Tron. In which case, if they do play the Tron lane next turn, I will play Pithing Needle naming Karn in the blind. All right, there it is. We're going to see a Chromatic Star into an Ancient Stirrings here. I believe the Ancient Stirrings found a forest. It did. And it's kind of funny, I guess people run snow-covered forests. Why would Tron run a snow-covered forest in addition to a regular forest? I can't really think of a reason. What's an effect that, I might control that makes the opponent get different named lands? I doubt the Tron deck is playing, Field of Ruin, right? Not Field of Ruin, Field of the Dead. So, snow-covered forest a little bit weird, but we're going to see later in this game the opponent just runs out like regular basic forests, which is weird for two reasons. First of all, the fact that they have snow and regular, but more particularly that they did not play out the land that was revealed. So I just knew throughout this entire game that they were holding like a forest in hand, which is kind of weird. So anyhow, I don't really want to draw land, so I think I'm going to crack this now and probably get a blue-white duel. I only have a Prairie Stream in. I don't have a Hallowed Fountain, and I may want to look to change that. The mana base is really tight in 60 card Soulherder, so we do want to have a Temple Garden and a Canopy Vista, I feel, but it's too tight, I think, for Hallowed Fountain and a Prairie Stream. I do love the Prairie Stream, but you really want to be able to have access to immediate like blue-white mana, and sometimes you don't have the basics out to facilitate the Prairie Stream, so I'm on the fence right now about what to do with my blue-white duels. Coiling Oracle was an excellent draw. Now, it's a little bit awkward, right? Because if I run out Oracle, I don't have a blue card to pitch for Force anymore. But it was a blue card that I could potentially pitch to Force. But thinking about it a little bit, I also have this Pithing Needle in hand, right? So what are my outs here to a potential turn 3 Karn if I play the Coiling Oracle? Well, I play the Coiling Oracle and I can hit any blue spell, which we know from the little deck tech I did at the beginning is, I guess pre-sideboard, it should be 19 other blue cards in the deck. So what, like 2 out of 5, roughly? Let's check out the sideboard, see if we took out any blue cards. I did side up 1 Coiling Oracle. I'm going to have brought in a single Ceremonious Rejection, 2 Disdainful Strokes, a couple Pithing Needles. I think that's maybe about it. And I took out Stonehorn, I took out Lavinia, I took out a single Soulherder, just trimming around the edges to make room for some more impactful spells. But it does look like I sideboarded out a couple of blue cards, so maybe there's only 17 left in the deck at this point after I drew that Coiling Oracle, so decent chances to rip another blue card, but you can add hitting any land on top of that, I guess except for a Prairie Stream or Canopy Vista, because then I can just play out the Needle and name Karn, right? So I did decide to go ahead and run out this Coiling Oracle. If you have like a 50-50 chance, you always want to play the line that gives you a better chance of winning, like, putting your front foot forward rather than just always sitting back. Right now I have a creature on the board, I can start to play Ephemerates, that kind of thing. I did hit a land, so remember, a land or a blue card would have been good there. Go get a second basic, now I'll be able to get those Tangle lands online right away, and Pithing Needle is going to name Karn. So they do have natural Tron without mulliganing, and I doubt they're just going to run out of Karn with the Pithing Needle there, so here's a Wormcoil Engine. We could sort of deal with that thing if we chose to run out Knight and then Ephemerate it, and they would only be left with 1 token, but that's rarely going to be the correct line. In general, we kind of want to ignore the Wormcoil Engines. A much better line, for example, is just to block an Ephemerate so that they don't gain any life, we don't take any damage, and we continue to gain cards. All right, so I mean, at that point, hitting something like an Icefang Coatl is just gas because we do want to draw cards. We're starting to develop our mana. We have 2 Ephemerates to just continue to ghost block with against Wormcoil, and we're holding up this Force, right? So if they do something we need to counter, we can cast the Force. If they don't, we can cast the Icefang at the end step. We did play our land for the turn, so I guess we just pass to the opponent. All right, so they play a forest, but note it is not the other forest that has already been revealed. If you guys can figure out some reason why Mono Green Tron would run both a snow-covered forest and basic forest, apart from just like liking the art, let me know in the chat because it's kind of mysterious to me. All right, so opponent's getting in with Wormcoil Engine. Our line is pretty clear. We can't afford to flashing Coatl at this point. Wouldn't really make sense anyway, because we do need to hold up Force. That's our only blue card. Right now we just have up Natural Force, so I do Ghost Block. We hit another land as a Prismatic Vista. I would rather get duels at this point, but I'm not complaining. Ramp is always good in our value deck. Opponent goes with another Ancient Stirrings, and they reveal Ugin the Spirit Dragon, but they did already play their land for the turn, which means Ugin cannot come down this turn. So it's just in the opponent's hand for now. So do they have another play? Looks like they don't. So we go to the end step, and I get to flash in the Coatl. I only have one basic plains in the deck at this point, along with, I think, a couple vistas. So I can't ephemerate again, and I'm not honestly sure that I would at this point. It's I think, like, whatever. They didn't have removal in response to the first ephemerate, so it's clear they don't have spot removal. But ephemerate can be very useful if you draw like potentially more impactful spell. And like imagine I just like top deck a Venser, right? Then suddenly I can bounce 2 lands and I'm in a great spot. But if I just use the ephemerates up and they're sitting out in the graveyard, then I only get 1 effect out of a spell like Venser off the top of the deck. So I drew an Overgrown Tomb. Drawn a lot of lands, but chose to get another island. We're gonna ephemerate the Coiling Oracle, so we could potentially continue to ramp if there are lands on top of the deck. All right, so I think Coiling Oracle revealed another Coiling Oracle, and then I drew another land for the turn. So with the Force in hand, we know they have the Ugin, which is what they're likely going to slam next turn. So we're just going to play out the Coiling Oracle. We're going to have plenty of mana to hold up Force. So Venser is a great draw there. Really, really good. It acts as another counterspell when the opponent taps out, and then in combination with Ephemerate, all we really need at that point is just to draw something like a Chord or a Soulherder to get some consistent, or even an Eternal Witness in combination with the Ephemerates to like just really blow up their board state. So we can definitely afford to attack with the Ice Fang here, and I'm just going to hold up Venser to the opponent's turn. Okay, they are just getting in here. We're just going to, I think I am going to just Ghost Block here again, even though I just mentioned the power of the Ephemerate in combination with Venser. This is a debatable play. I could have easily just taken 6 damage and let them gain 6 life. Basically, in order to play out Venser and then, sorry, lost my train of thought. I could have taken 6 damage, waited until they cast something like Ugin, played Venser instead of Force, and then next turn untap, with Ephemerate up for Venser. But I don't know, we do want to draw cards as well. Again, something like Soulherder would be pretty awesome. Coiling Oracle continues to hit lands. Opponent chose to put Gigantha in hand. I guess they feel like they can just pressure me with creatures on the board, but so far that hasn't been an effective strategy in this game. So Gigantha is like really, really not scary, particularly since I did hit that that land, so I do get to cast Venser here anyway. So here's Gigantha. For whatever reason, it's taking a long time for the replay to process it. All right, so Venser's going to bounce that thing back to the opponent's hand, and board state continues to develop nicely. Here, it's a little bit awkward because they have Tron established, but I believe I did choose to blink a Coiling Oracle, just so I can draw cards, try to get more value established. All right, so there's that Soulherder, which is pretty nice. It's going to get in with the team, and then definitely play out this Soulherder. Now, we do want to continue to leave up Force of Negation, so play out the Overgrown Tomb, and I had a choice here, and I think this is maybe where I blinked Venser once, just to prevent them from getting like a bazillion mana next turn. In hindsight, it's possible, like I should have let the Ephemerate rebound hit Venser. Sometimes it's just going to be a close call between drawing more cards and using an effect again like Venser's. So yeah, just going to bounce that tower for now, and if we draw something like an Eternal Witness to get back an Ephemerate, like the game is going to basically be over right away. All right, so they got the tower. They tapped down... No. Okay, 7 mana. Interesting. So they go for World Breaker, which unfortunately exiles an artifact or land or an enchantment. So I'm not going to be able to get that Pithing Needle back. So Pithing Needle down, World Breaker is on the board. We're sort of chilling here with a Path to Exile, though. So it seems like a reasonable time just to cast that, right? Grows the Soulherder, stops the opponent from gaining unnecessary life. I drew a Hierarch for the turn. Pretty poor top deck. It's the downside of running Dorks, obviously. And then it just looks like there's no reason not to run out the Knight of Autumn as like a body at this point. We know they have Ugin, but I do have Force in hand. I'm going to get in with the Ice Fang, and if they feel like trading for the World Breaker, it's sort of fine. And if they don't, I'm just going to blink. I think I'm going to blink the Ice Fang and hope to draw a Chord of Calling. With this particular list, you know, whenever you change a list significantly, you kind of have to learn to adjust your sideboarding again. I think I might have trimmed one Chord of Calling just so I didn't flood out on that effect. But it's obviously like one of the best possible draws in this spot. But I drew a Disdainful Stroke. That was like among the best possible draws, because if the opponent, you know, casts something that I kind of have to answer, and then I know they still have Ugin, you know, it would be a very difficult spot. In this case, they have a Thought Knot, which I had to think about for a second, but I just didn't have the resources to both cast Disdainful Stroke on the Thought Knot Seer and then cast Force of Negation, right? I don't have another card in hand, and I don't have the mana available, so unfortunately, the opponent did get to take one of these spells with Thought Knot, but then I have a counter up for Ugin, so it's still all good for the time being. But we definitely have reached a spot in this game where I need to start blinking my card drawing creatures as often as possible. Like we're out of gas. We've got a really nice board state. A Chord would be amazing in this spot, just because if we do have to let Ugin resolve and they go like -3, we can go Chord for Urian, which again now is in the main deck, and tuck our entire board away and kill Ugin on the crackback and effectively end the game that way. So Chord would just be amazing, but we do need to draw cards to get to that kind of a spot. So opponent knows what I have now, so probably going to follow up with a non-creature spell if they have it. They go with Karn, and I do decide, what did I decide here? I like to think about whether I would make the same decisions. What would you guys do here against Karn? Would you spend the Force and let Ugin, you know, let shields down against Ugin for the moment? For me, I know what I did. I forced it because if Karn tucks away Soulherder, that's going to take away card draw from me, and that's really all I need at this point, or really all that's going to win me the game. So I choose to counter it and just sort of cross my fingers that I don't have lands and mana dorks on top of the deck. All right, so they can't really get in effectively. I mean, World Breaker is obnoxious because they get it back from the graveyard if they pay 3 mana and sack a land. So really trading for something is sort of fine for them, but I guess it doesn't look good for them right now. They don't like the option, and you know, whatever. I think it's probably correct. So I drew a Pithing Needle off the top, which is one of the possible answers to Ugin the Spirit Dragon. So let's get that down right away. And then, as I mentioned, we are just going to blink one of our card drawing creatures at the end step. I give the opponent the option of blocking this Ice Fang Coatl, and I guess they felt that 13 life was sort of where they drew the line, because I'm pretty sure they blocked here. Oh, you know what? This was an interesting moment, and this is one of the benefits of doing replays, because if I had not attacked here, I actually definitely should not have attacked here, because now World Breaker will die and they get to recast it, like I just said. And I just was fortunate enough to draw Pithing Needle. So I of course saw that they recast World Breaker during the game, but I didn't quite put 2 and 2 together and like realize that like my attack is what allowed them to do that. So nice learning. Don't attack with Death Touch into World Breaker if you have an artifact that you don't want to get exiled. That's the lesson. All right, so we need a good draw here, Coiling Oracle. Give me something good, please. Okay. Sometimes, you know, the deck just does exactly what you need it to do. So let's see what the opponent wants to do here. All right, so they're going to get back World Breaker, sacrifice probably one of their... Okay, they sacrifice one of their forests. And we're going to see World Breaker again, getting rid of Pithing Needle. So in effect, that Ceremonious Rejection only bought me 1 turn, but sorry, that What am I trying to say here? The Pithing Needle. The Pithing Needle only bought me 1 turn against Ugin because I made the mistake of letting the opponent recast Worldbreaker. But I do still have the Ceremonious Rejection, and we are going to get 2 draws on our turn. Let's see what the opponent's got here. Might just be Gigantha, right? Yeah, okay. So it's kind of cool. Like, at this point in the game, they've got their big creatures, but, you know, I've got a 5/5. They can't attack with Thought Knot, right? And it's just going to keep getting bigger. And they keep running lower and lower on cards. We still know they have this stupid forest in hand because for some reason they chose to play other forests. And we know they're sitting on the Ugin. And they actually know that we have the Ceremonious Rejection since I believe or maybe they don't, honestly. Let's check that out. Oh, they do. I guess I must have blinked a Coiling Oracle for that. So Charming Prince is an interesting one here. And because I want to draw cards, I'm pretty sure the correct line here is just to play Charming Prince and blink a Coiling Oracle. That will get back on end step. Another potential line is blinking Venser. But when it comes back on end step, we're not going to get to blink it with Soulherder anyway, because we have to target with Soulherder before Charming Prince's creatures return. So we wouldn't get to bounce 2 things, and at this point with redundant Tron pieces, there's no combination of lands that we could bounce that would take them off of Tron next turn. So yeah, really just blinking a Coiling Oracle seems like a strong play out of Charming Prince here. And with a lot of power, they would be very happy just to like block and trade 2 creatures. At this point, they wouldn't even have to trade 2 creatures, but eventually, like, I'm really not incentivized to attack with Soulherder in this spot. I did sideboard out Lavinia. At a certain point, I started doing the math. So it's 5, it's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9. So I do have lethal on board, but I did sideboard out Lavinia. It just seems kind of low impact against Tron since they go so big, and she only detains 4 and less. Which is just to say that I can't Alpha Strike. Like, normally you play Lavinia, and it says your creatures can't block. But here they have a 7-drop, and Lavinia, you know, doesn't affect that. Gigantha is a 5-drop. So they could still block with these 2 creatures. So taking Lavinia out, I think, is definitely the correct call. All right, catch my breath here. Coiling Oracle, definitely going to draw us a card at the end step, and we're going to blink the other one. So as long as we've got some kind of value in the next few cards on the top of the deck, you know, we should be pulling ahead here. So here's the first Coiling Oracle. Ephemerate is huge because it's effectively another counterspell by ephemerating Venser in response to something. So another Coiling Oracle blink from Soulherder and Deputy. So Deputy not instant speed, but it is good. If they get down Ugin, we can play Deputy to you know, sort of get rid of it. We're hoping that Ugin never comes down, because if Ugin comes down, it kind of means that we're just wrecked at this point. I haven't drawn one of those cords I keep mentioning in order to get Orion to tuck away in response to Ugin, but we do have answers right now. Our opponent goes for the Karn first. I'm going to, I think, Ephemerate Venser to get that off the stack. We know that they have more coming, so we're going to use both of our effects, Ceremonious and Blinking Venser. Soulherder continues to grow, and I think they're just going to follow up with Karn again. They know I have the Ceremonious in hand, so I do have to rip that here. And we're back to a spot where it's a little bit sketchy, because we do need an out to Ugin. If they resolve that, then it's just lights out for us. We have an Ephemerate coming, which is going to continue to allow us to dig. You can see in a 60-card deck, you know, we get low on cards pretty quickly. More than halfway through the deck by turn 9. All right, so blink that Oracle. We're going to draw some cards. And Ice Fang's going to continue to draw cards, and there's that Eternal Witness. That was what really unlocked this end game for us, because let me pause here for a second and just let you guys think about that is funny, because yeah, it can't be that's hilarious actually. It can't be used to pay generic, right? They wouldn't have had enough anyway. It would be like, what, like 5 mana plus 1 is 6, but yeah, they can't use it to pay for Ugin. So what you guys can see my graveyard. You can see that I'm about to cast Eternal Witness. What's your line? I've got Ceremonious, I've got Force and Path. I've got a lot of good stuff to work with. What are you guys doing here to start closing this game out? I can just chill out for a moment while you guys think about it. while you're thinking about it, I can think about combat. Like if I got in with my 9/9, right? Let's say they block it, they block the 4/3, they block a 2. Only getting through with 4 damage at this point. Actually, only 3 since the Coiling Oracle has Summoning Sickness. So we still don't have good attacks. But we may soon. You know, we could of course deputy one of their creatures. Are you guys thinking about what you want to do here with Eternal Witness? All right, Ephemerate, obviously. And then what? I mean, keep going, right? Ephemerate, obviously. Appreciate the obviously. All right, since you said Ephemerate, obviously, I'm going to go ahead and get an Ephemerate back from the graveyard. I agree, it is obvious, but I would think if it, if you had that idea in mind, you would say, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. So what comes next? Alpha Strike? Yeah, Ephemerate for Ephemerate, 100%. 100%. Do it until we can't do it anymore. So I did think like, okay, maybe I'm gonna hold up Ephemerate to like Ephemerate Venser to take their next thing off the stack, but in the end, at the end of my end step, I did blink Eternal Witness one more time to actually grab Ceremonious Rejection. So let's go ahead and draw more cards. Actually, what may have been better here, what would definitely have been better here, so that I would have definitely had 2 answers, would have, of course, been just to blink Eternal Witness, right? Because then I blink Eternal Witness, I get back Ceremonious Rejection, and then I can just blink Eternal Witness again and get back Force. And then I've got just like, double Counterspell backup. But little loose blinking this Coiling Oracle, I think. Definitely wanted to have 2 answers, and when I realized at the end step that I didn't have 2 answers, I was sort of thinking like Ephemerate Venser is 2 answers because then somehow I get back Ceremonious, but it doesn't work like that. I need to Ephemerate Eternal Witness to get back Ceremonious. So I did not have 2 answers. I think after I blinked the Oracle, or while I was blinking it, I realized I don't have 2 answers. Let's go get the more robust answer so that they can't top deck Dismember in response to Ephemerate on Venser. So what? Okay. I hit a land off the Oracle. We're gonna blink Eternal Witness right now, get the Ceremonious, and just sort of chill. The only thing that like I'm super afraid of here now is like double Ugin, I guess, right? Hold it up so you can rejection Ephem, then rejection. Yeah, but I didn't have rejection in hand. That's the problem, right? So my point was that, like, if they go to cast something, there's no reason for me to Ephemerate Eternal Witness on their turn. Like, it's better just to Ephemerate Eternal Witness on my turn and get back the Ceremonious Rejection. The line that I missed was blinking Eternal Witness with Soulherder to get back a second answer. All right, Wormcoil Engine, I couldn't care less. That resolves. And their opponent's on 1 card, and so I can, like, breathe a sigh of relief because we know we're going to untap at this point with triple Ephemerate, and that's just game over. Like, I have 11 minutes left on the clock, and there's literally nothing the opponent can do to win at this point. They think about casting Ugin, and they're like, why? Why would I bother? So we do get to cast this Icefang Coatl, which is pretty fun, and I can crack the Prismatic Vista, get another Forest, and cast another Icefang Coatl. I was asking earlier, I'm not sure if you guys were all here, but why would Tron be incentivized to run Basic Forest and Snow-Covered Forest? I mean, if they were running, maybe they sideboard like a Field of the Dead or something like that. But it seems unnecessary. And I was mentioning, for those of you who weren't here, that the opponent revealed a forest like early in the game off an Ancient Stirrings, and then continued to play 2 other full art, just basic forests. One of them they sacrificed to get back World Breaker, like, just seems, I don't know, it seems loose because I knew that one of the cards in their hand the whole game was the snow-covered forest. Anyhow, if you guys have an answer for that, let me know. I drew Oro, not super relevant, but we would eventually want to attack for lethal. So Oro's kind of a big body. We're just going to get all of our ephemerates back. And at that point, the opponent scooped, so pretty awesome. The opponent had access to Tron, you know. We had two Pithing Needles, which slowed down their planeswalkers, forced them to cast things like World Breaker and Wormcoil Engine. Like when they played Natural Tron on turn 3, and I had Pithing Needle naming Karn, they were sort of priced into playing Wormcoil Engine instead. Gave us a lot of time. I made a couple mistakes this game. One of them was attacking with Ice Fang after I played out my Pithing Needle, so that World Breaker was able to block, and then they got it back to kill my Pithing Needle. That was like a pretty bad mistake, and I should have sort of thought that through, but again, that's one of the benefits, awesome benefits of doing these replays, is you get to learn a lot more because there's no way to catch everything the first time through. Answer is to only have one of the nice snow art. Yeah, I guess that's the answer. I mean, maybe there is some weird answer. I don't know. Like, is there a card that some deck plays that says you can get a land that you don't already have a land that shares that name or something? It's like, no, not really. You see the basic and the snows in decks like Amulet Titan, where they play Field of the Dead and they need lands with different names. That's like the only thing I can think of. So anyhow, again, just to be super clear, there was a spot where I got super lucky and top decked a Pithing Needle and a second Pithing Needle. I needed an answer to Ugin, and I read Pithing Needle. I played it, and then proceeded to attack with the Ice Fang. It let them rebuy World Breaker and cast it to blow up my Pithing Needle, which that would have lost me the game unless I continued to draw well. I think I immediately drew like Ceremonious and Force and a bunch of amazing answers. It's all just to say I got lucky when I shouldn't have needed to get lucky. I had the game in a really good spot with the Pithing Needle, and I just blew it up with my stupid play. So that was one line, and another line was after the triple Ephemerate, I should have blinked the Eternal Witness to get back Force. Like, there was no reason to not have two hard answers to anything that they could have. And the game should have just been locked when, again, it was a little sketchy for a moment. If the opponent does play two Ugins, I think they had enough mana to cast it. Let's see, 1, 2, that's 6, 8, 10. Yeah, exactly, right? No, they have more than enough, right? So it's 10, 16, 18. Yeah, they had more than enough to cast two Ugins. So if they do have two Ugins, they did have a window of opportunity to blow me out, since I didn't blink the Witness. But just pointing this stuff out so that you guys can think about these important things while you're playing your Soulherder decks. Oh, Paintball Demon. That's pretty solid, but I don't think you can name basic lands with Unmoored Ego, right? So anyhow, awesome game against Tron. I guess we can go look at Unmoored Ego. I haven't read the text in a little while. Choose a card name. Search opponent's graveyard, hand, and library. Oh, you can name basic lands with Unmoored Ego. That's sort of ridiculous. So yeah, that must be the reason. That's super smart. Good job, Paintball Demon. That's these streams are like so valuable, not just for me, but for you guys. Like, or I should say, not just for you guys, but also for me, because like I'm the teacher supposedly, but you guys teach me stuff all the time. So yeah, that's pretty smart, I guess, out of Tron, right? To run one of each. So if the opponent is like recycling Unmoored Egos, trying to take them off green, they can prevent that by running two different green sources. Really smart. All right, so for those of you who didn't see the deck earlier, actually, I think I did just upload it to Cardboard Live, so if you haven't checked it out, can you guys let me know? Is that actually working, the plugin? And I guess since I have a few of you guys here watching, I might as well just go ahead and jump into like another queue. I'm not changing decks, just need to queue up. All right, thanks, Copper. Glad to know that that it's working. For a while, I had no idea how to work that thing. Like, it's not extremely intuitive for those of you who haven't tried it before. It's like you have to go to the Cardboard Live website, you have to input your deck and save it, and then that's not it. You have to actually go to your dashboard in Twitch, select Cardboard Live, and then select which list you want to show up from a drop-down menu. And so I thought like it was just going to show whatever list I uploaded to Cardboard Live, but no, you actually have to go into the settings in Twitch and like do it that way, and then it shows up. But I'm happy that it's working now. Is there anything that you guys think is fishy about this list? Do you think maybe the numbers look weird? I am waiting for an opponent, so we have a moment to talk about the list. I'll fill up my water. I mean, at 60 cards, there's definitely things missing that were kind of givens almost in the 80 card. Like, I don't have Restoration Angel as like a chord target to be able to save something. I do have Charming Prince, but obviously that effect is delayed until the end step. So no Resto. Like, what else have I taken out? Obviously, I'm down to 1 Siege Rhino instead of 3 Siege Rhinos. 1 Uro instead of 2 Uros. No Wall of Roots because we need more blue cards. I'm down to 1 Path. Honestly, since running 80 cards, I've sort of felt well, with 80 cards you draw every card a little bit less, right, than you would with 60. So obviously drawing paths less than I was in the past, and just generally found that I didn't always need the path. So I'm bulking up on sort of the creature type of effects, like making sure that I keep Deputy and Knight. Before trimming any of these, I trim the paths, and I actually went down to 3 chords to bring in 1 path, because singletons, as you can see in my sideboard, are actually quite powerful in a deck that can recur them with Eternal Witness. So I just played against humans earlier, and I think both games I eventually just got out like a Stonehorn. Actually, no, one game I got out a Worship from the sideboard and kind of rode that out. But I did draw the path in game 2, and it was an option for me all game to be able to go get it with Eternal Witness, but with Worship on the board, their creatures didn't really matter. So I'm not exactly sure why sometimes like takes forever to find opponents, but they kind of do different things, and I think you learn that more and more the more that you play with both of them. It's really not just like Lavinia is not just to stop the opponents from attacking. It stops lots of planeswalkers from activating. It also sort of the most important thing that Lavinia does different than Stonehorn is actually just end a game, right? Because if we have a board full of like 1/1s and 2/1s and whatnot, we're not often going to be able to attack effectively. So Lavinia is just a way to close out a game, whereas Stonehorn is a slightly cheaper, easier to cast way to just immediately stop a game against aggressive decks. So they kind of do different things. I've been playing with both, and I often chord for both. So I felt like I was talking a lot earlier when I did the first deck tech at the beginning of this stream about why I made some of the choices that I made. And one of the big things is that before Urian was printed, obviously, I had like easily over 1,000 matches with different Soulherder builds, and I had a really well-rounded impression of what I thought Soulherder decks wanted to be doing, what our strong lines were, and what the weak things are that we don't want to be doing. So I had gotten kind of to a point where I didn't like dorks, first of all, because it didn't feel like we were ramping to anything really powerful. Like if we play a dork on turn 3, it's not that amazing to play out an Eternal Witness. It's not that amazing to play out a Deputy or a Knight. So just the ramp didn't seem like it was using the spots very well. I also was running fewer Soulherders, just because I just in general feel like getting an early Soulherder out, like running more Soulherders, you're going to draw them early, right? And playing it early in the game, it just dies to so many things. I felt like I was in a place where I just learned that I wanted to use Eladamri's Call or potentially Court of Calling to get Soulherder when I want it. But then when Urian came out, we had Aspiring Spike, who my impression is he's relatively new to the Soulherder like archetype in general. Tried right out of the gate this Avalanche Rider build with 4 Soulherders, 4 Eternal Witnesses. It was very much like what Nassif did out of the gate. He's like, okay, Soulherder is the core, Eternal Witness is the core. We're going to run 4 of each of these. And then all of a sudden you see, okay, these 4 drops are super powerful in combination with Soulherder. So all of a sudden, like, ramp was back on the menu, right? Because turn 2 Soulherder into turn 3 something powerful is a really nice line, right? And it was something that I had moved away from in the 60 card build because I just felt like every time I played a turn 2 Soulherder, it just got killed. But after seeing the power in the 80 card build, I'm on the same proportion of Soulherders. The deck size was trimmed by a third, and so with Soulherder and with Eternal Witness, I trimmed them in this list down by a third, from 4 to 3. It's tough, like, making decisions like that. You have to balance blue cards for force, so you can't run too many green cards. And I hate trimming witnesses, but if I was running 4 witnesses in 80 cards, 3 should be roughly similar in 60 cards. So I am running Dorks in 60 cards because now that I've learned not just what 60 cards seems to want to do, but also what 80 cards wants to do, and thus kind of an even more well-rounded understanding of what Soulherder decks want to do, it does seem like curving out into like Soulherder into like powerful stuff is a really nice way to play this deck. So that's kind of how I got to where I am now. Anyhow, we still don't have an opponent. It's like taking forever. Yeah, I just mentioned that. Only one path. It's not because I think path is a weak card, but it's because I think in this deck, creatures are super important. I think, as I just explained, I think ramp is super important. I think blue cards are super important. I think Eternal Witness is super important. I think every card from Uro through core, just from here to the end, is they're all super important, right? So you might say, oh, do you want to trim Lavinia for a path? And, that's reasonable. I could trim Lavinia and put in one more path, but coming from, again, the 80 card experience, it just didn't seem like I always wanted to draw path. There's a lot of control in the format, which you may want path eventually when they play in Uro, but you certainly don't want to draw like 3 paths against control, right? Against like Ad Nauseam, like Path to Exile is just a stupid card, right? Like there's a lot of this random stuff around right now, and like having 4 paths in a blink deck that is really tight on space. We're drawing tons of cards in this build, and so I get to dig and try to find the path to exile. I've just found one of the things I found through playing 60 cards is that these sort of singleton package approaches do work. Right, path is not the only thing that can deal with threats. We have Ghost Blocks with Ephemerate, we have Death Touch with Ice Fang, we have Deputy, we have Stonehorn, we have Lavinia, we have huge blocks with Urian in the sky, same with Siege Rhino on the ground. Cord seems like a win more to me. Would rather cut to 2. Cord is absolutely not a win more. Cord is the thing that takes our board state from like an okay spot to a winning spot. Like if we can cord for either something to stop the opponent from attacking, or if we can cord to get a Soulherder. So look, I drew my path, so we're gonna keep. Cord is absolutely not win more. Cord is central to the deck functioning correctly. The parallel is Elidomri's Call with Ether Vial, but Ether Vial takes up 4 slots in the deck, and you do have to dilute. The strategy if you want to play Ether Vial. Now, we've seen plenty of lists that run Ether Vial doing well, particularly CFT SO3's approach. But I personally don't really love Ether Vial in this kind of a deck, so Ornithopter. All right, this looks like this might be a semi-favorable matchup for us. Are they going to, like, sack this and make a bunch of stuff? Okay, this is just like... I know this deck. We are going to want to draw lands. Hey, all right. So, I Unless they do something crazy next turn, I think I'm just going to want to play my Ice Fang out. We'll put Deputy over with the Force in case anything wild tries to occur that I can counter. Hopefully they play out like 3 Signal Pests and I just Deputy them. Hopefully they kept 1 land. Gus, are you asking 3 herders versus 4? Or are you asking 3 herders versus 1 herder? Swizzy, I am trying 60 again. I just showed a long replay against Tron. So what's going on here? They're coming out pretty hot. I think I'm sort of priced into taking the damage here. We need to keep their board somewhat slim, and we can eventually stabilize. Like, I think I'll try to snipe the Signal Pest with the Ice Fang Coatl. They only got 1 green mana left, so they can't do too much with that. This is awesome for us, actually. Like, really, really awesome. All right, so, you know, we've got cards, we've got lands. Let's see if we can stay alive. Another Force. Probably not the best draw. This deck is like 40 creatures or something like that. Building up my basics seems good. Like, I can get like another green source and then... Green, and then later we get... I kind of want to wait to play Witness until I can cast Path. Until Path is in the yard. So I guess I'm going to get blue now, and then I'll get the green-white Canopy land. And I'll just use Deputy to exile a Burning Tree. It will ramp them if... Although, you know what? I could just chill on Path, and then next turn, Witness Path. I think that seems the best. It's inefficient use of mana, but I think it's fine. Should I attack or not attack? I think I won't. Even if I don't block. All right, so opponent's got Castle Embereth. Let's remind ourselves what that does. 3 mana and tap it to buff their creatures. And what is this thing? Annex. Whenever another creature dies, make some satyrs. Yeah, I think I know this thing, but this is perfect because they tapped out to play a 3-drop, and I get to path it and then just get Path back, and the game is kind of over. No, I'm not really afraid of damage here. I'm just trying to play as efficiently as possible, and I think that Path and then Ewit Path is probably just the best. Opponent's thinking hard. Yeah, not gonna block that. Yeah. It's wrecked me in limited. Like, I played 1 draft of Theros Beyond Death, and it was just like, it was pretty brutal. Peace, Mr. NX. No more for this world. I am going to get blue and then green-white. And opponent can't really do too much. I am down to 10, though. All right, decent draw. Although, you know what? I just kind of want to get Death Touch online now, don't I? I think Death Touch is just better. This is sort of like a Goblins matchup where you just trade resources until they run out of resources. Wait. I hit the wrong button. That's the first time that's ever happened. I hit the wrong shortcut. I said no to Eternal Witness's ability. I feel like the game is still in hand, but that's ridiculous. It doesn't feel that bad, honestly. It could feel worse. In another situation, it would definitely feel worse. I think I'm still okay. Oh, yeah, that's pretty noobish right there. I thought about my line like so carefully, and then it's like, oh, take your path to exile. I don't really need it. You can keep it, Graveyard. Vexing Devil. So I kind of wish I had another path to exile. So I don't know. I think I can just let this thing chill now. Yeah, just handicapping myself, just playing with the opponent. Play a lightning bolt or something. I guess they're like they can probably just buff their team, right? But this is oh, they can do that at instant speed. That's interesting. I could just trade both of these creatures right now, but I feel like that's not correct. I don't know. Maybe I should trade. I am going to get a path back next turn. Hopefully. Unless I hit... Okay. So, we appear stabilized, but only if I don't mess up my... Alright, so in this spot, do I guess I get back the path rather than just getting back... I think I get back Coatl, right? It's like it's a removal spell that draws me a card. Sorry for that if you guys can hear that sort of staticky noise in the background. Yeah, I like Coatl as well. And if they do have things like bolts, then we do have these forces. Or even Embercleave, right? Somebody was saying something about Embercleave. We could force that. Yep, well, that has to resolve. Okay, what do you got, opponent? Buffs again, I guess. Actually, they don't have first strike. There's only 2 creatures attacking. So this thing is enough of a menace that I think I want to kill it. But at the same time, you know what? I'm gonna take 1 for now. We need some creatures to generate value on board. And the opponent's sitting on 1 card. Or we take 2, I guess. But we need something decent to ephemerate, right? And see, we're not really hitting it, so I guess getting a green-black land probably makes sense. Could also just get another blue source if I have to hardcast Force. But for now, we'll just do this. And I feel fine attacking here, I think. I mean, something like a Rhino or a Cord for Rhino. Like, somebody was saying Cord seems like win more, but there's always situations like this where like your board is okay, but you need something to stabilize. All right, so this thing can get buffed. So we'll probably not want to block with Deputy. I am going to crack this now and get I guess another blue source, right? We'll get a breeding pool. Like, we just need one more Eternal Witness, a Soulherder, a Cord. There it is. All right, so I think I'm just going to Cord for Rhino in this spot. I will just pass the turn with double Force up and Cord for Rhino. Gain some life, get a big attacker. Could also just, if I don't feel like they're really pressuring me, I can just Cord for another Witness to expand my board a little bit and get back Cord. Let's see. If we Cord for Soulherder here, we can, yes. If we go like 1, 2, 3, 4, like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We get Soulherder. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We won't be able to Cord. A Soulherder seems good though, right? Because we can just grow it. If the opponent attacks, well, they're going to attack. It would be nice to use Cord to actually get like our value going. I mean, we have Force up anyway, and we'll have a pretty stout board. I almost feel like I can just like chump with Eternal Witness next turn or something like that. Yeah, fine. So let's just pay mana for Cord. Leave up our creatures. Although, you know what, I can pay with Eternal Witness. Well, I'm not going to block with Deputy anyway. So, yeah, no, I agree. That's why I think I'm going to go with it here. We are at 5 life with double Force, and imagine if I hadn't refused the first path. Uro is also insane here. It's like absolutely bonkers, nutty, game winning. But I think I'm going to get Soulherder anyway. It gets back the Cord, which we can then go and get Uro. Actually, we can get Uro, I think, with our current setup. If I didn't, let's see. Nah, we can't. Opponent thinking. Oh, wait. 1, 2. Let's see. Kind of like getting back path from the first Cord. Yeah, getting back path, I mean, is more defensive and probably makes sense. Since we can definitely defend our Soulherder here. I feel like the opponent is just thinking here about. Yeah, I mean, doing it this way actually is better because it doesn't force the chump block with the Witness. Doesn't even like get close to that. Okay, so defend the Soulherder, and can't see how we don't get there here. Opponent has been sitting on 1 card like the whole game. I haven't played against Embercleave too much. I don't know how much it costs to flash in and exactly what it does. I do know it's a red card that can randomly blow you out. No, it's very smart, actually, Swizzy. I think getting back the more defensive option. So no reason not to path here because I can just get back path whenever I want, and I can still cast Force. Obviously, a hard cast Force is sort of off the table here, but so is the opponent's creature. Okay, that's gonna resolve. I don't wish to take 4 damage. And I'll probably like chill on. I could probably crack this now. They only have 1 card and I do have Force in hand. I'll go get black mana. Ephemerate seems pretty good here. So I think I'm just going to go to the end step. Actually, you know what? I think I want to Ephemerate now, Chord for a Rhino now, and then blink it with Soulherder. If the opponent has anything to remove Witness, we have Forces. Wait, I am getting Chord back, right? There we go. The only thing is like, okay, Soulherder's growing here, so they can try to path it now. I mean, sorry, they could try to bolt it now, but now they can't. All right, so we got what, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Can't get the Siege Rhino while leaving up Hardcast Force. Would definitely take a different line here if the opponent potentially had access to Boros Charm. Yeah, Path seems fine. I mean, also Blinking Siege Rhino seems fine. Yeah, whatever. Let's deal with their creatures, expand our board. It all seems pretty good. So that's the plan for the time being, I think, is if they have any creatures, I'll get back Path. If they don't, I just blink Siege Rhino. We're going to play fast and have plenty of time to play next game and potentially a third game. You can see my 1 Path to Exile is doing work in this game. It's the only one I have in the deck. All right, let's see. I thought for a second, look at the opponent might have been scooping. So I'm going to block. If they want to buff him, that's fine. But before any of this, you know what? Actually, maybe this is incorrect because now they're going to buff him, tap out, and I'm just going to Path the Vexing Devil. F6. Oh, don't F6 maybe because I have Force up. All right, opponent scooped. I've got to run to the bathroom. Maybe I'll do my sideboarding first real quick. So, Fog seems good. Fog. Oh yeah, my trackpad is being weird. There we go. Oh, Fog. I feel like Weather the Storm is good. I feel like Winds of Abandon is good. All this stuff is good. Wow. I mean, even Teferi might be good. And my... Ugh. Man, sometimes if my hand even gets a little bit sweaty, my trackpad gets like obnoxious. I don't think all these forces are super necessary. They obviously don't have a lot of non-creature spells, so I'll leave 2 in. Soulherder was pretty bonkers that game. Venser is kind of poor. Orion is expensive, like really expensive. I might just trim Orion and Lavinia. No, I don't like playing with a mouse. My trackpad is, I've tried it with both. Maybe I'll trim 1 Soulherder. and one other card. Maybe Coiling Oracle doesn't do enough on defense. I'll trim a Coiling Oracle. We've got a bunch of life gain in the deck. Between Prince and Knight and Uro and Siege Rhino. Let's remember that we don't have access to Lavinia. We don't have access to Orion. Opponent is starting with 7, and I don't think I can keep 5 lands. I think I have to mulligan this, despite removal being good in the matchup. Yikes. Yikes, deck. Come on, I've got lands in the deck. This is unacceptable. Mulligan to 5. All right. So, I mean, I feel like I have to bottom as good as Siege Rhino is, I think I have to bottom it. It's too expensive. I typically don't like keeping things that are too expensive to cast. So, like maybe just bottom the Soulherder too. No, I'm gonna bottom the Soulherder. It's too delicate, and the opponent got wrecked by it last game. I feel like they're gonna have some kind of bolts. I don't love turn 2 Soulherder. They're gonna play a creature, probably 1 and 2, and even if it's just to like ghost block with Hierarch or protect it from removal. Also, if I just draw into like an Oracle or well, I guess we'll have to see how it goes. But ghost blocking seems reasonable in this matchup. Like turn 2 Soulherder with nothing but Hierarch on the board is not that exciting. Oh. Alright, well, that was a decent one. That's gonna get our lands online. I'm kind of priced into getting a like a breeding pool here, just so I have access to my colors. So many times I'll play a Hierarch after getting a basic forest and then just get like, I'll not draw lands for the rest of the game. I mean, next turn I could hold up Weather and Ephemerate, do some ghost blocking and gain some life if they cast like Burning Tree, but they might just be doing that now. And then turn 3 I can play Witness and get back the land if I need to. Opponent thinking quite intensively about which land to get. A Deputy off the top would be maybe the best draw, assuming that Hierarch doesn't get blown up. Blah. All right. It's a nice turn 2, 8 damage. So I think I just have to play Weather the Storm and then like Ghost Block. It's pretty bad actually, because if I Ghost Block, I won't get Ephemerate into the graveyard, because I'm not going to recast it unless I choose to recast it. Then Hierarch wouldn't have Summoning Sickness. Hierarch would have Summoning Sickness, wouldn't be able to contribute mana. But I think that's the line I have to take. And then Eternal Witness can just buy back Weather or something. We're definitely on the back foot mulliganing to 5 here. And I don't think that getting Soulherder onto the board would have been would have made much of a difference. It would have been, I guess in theory, it would have been a 3/3 here, so we can keep that in mind. Yes. It might depend on their sequencing, but they're probably going to do a bunch of stuff in first main phase. But I guess we'll see what they do, right? So these guys are going to they're going to all have Trample now. Trample and First Strike. So not the best blocker anymore. Could just be dead on turn 3. It happens against these kinds of decks, particularly when you mulligan pretty hard. But we're set to gain, as it stands, at least 6 life off the Weather. Potentially significantly more. So we do have to keep in mind that if we ephemerate the Hierarch to Ghost Block, we're not actually preventing any damage with Trample. Well, if I ephemerate first, then it's going to be 9. I was just counting the spells Loyalist and Weather the Storm. But in all likelihood, we're going to cast Ephemerate. Even though, you know what? It actually doesn't do anything, right? Since they have Trample now, casting Ephemerate gains 3 life, but it also just wastes Ephemerate. Opponent thinking really hard. They're like, should I play this Bushwhacker or this Bushwhacker? Oh no, Grafdigger's Cage. That's like literally the worst thing they could possibly play here. Nah, I think we're good. I'm not blocking with Hierarch. I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm not blocking with Hierarch, I don't think. So hold on. Right now, I'm set to gain. That was I can gain 9 life as things stand anyway. So now I just play Witness, leave up a blocker. They're gonna have this Trample. You know, let's see how it goes, guys. I'm not gonna cast Ephemerate, I don't think. Because, I mean, what if I draw Knight of Autumn or Charming Prince? Then I can just Ephemerate him right away and gain a bunch of life, right? Let's keep in mind that we can't chord with the Grafdiggers on the battlefield. Nah. Very little they can do here with 1 mana up, I think. So I'm going to take 5. I'm going to untap, play my fetch, crack my fetch, hopefully draw like Uro or Charming Prince or Knight of Autumn. I mean, maybe they follow up with Vexing Devil. Okay, they cast a spell. It's going to gain us some life. Now imagine we were on the play here, right? And I would be, getting it back from the graveyard with access to 5 mana. All right. So yeah, we're at 16 now, feeling decent. I'm gonna crack this. I'm gonna get back. Now this thing does buff their creatures, kind of annoying. Guess I get another green source. I do need to get back Weather the Storm, I think, right? They can't currently buff unless they draw land. We're still fine anyway. I mean, why are we coddling first? No, I think we get Weather back, and then we can coddle and Weather and gain a bunch of life. But we don't know if we're going to draw land. I think we definitely want the Weather back now. Anyhow, I'll get punished. We'll see how it goes. Actually, you know what? But coddle can actually trade with Legion Loyalist, which is kind of nice. All right. I mean, I could see it that way. Because I like trading with Legion Loyalists, and I don't really love losing Eternal Witness. So I think that's going to govern the math here. Well, it does, because I can untap and then play spells next turn, right? And play Weather and gain 6 more life right away. Regardless of whether I draw land or not, right? All right, so they drew land. They get to buff their creatures. Oh, this thing's going to have first strike, right? All right, so... yeah, it's going to have first strike. I was never going to kill the Legion Loyalist. We're going to need to draw removal for that. But I can kill the Ornithopter? Nope, everything's getting first strike. All right, so what do we got here? First strike plus a bunch of damage. They've got 6 creatures on the board. So we're looking at 12 here. Anyhow, it's time to flash this in and see what I draw. Maybe I should have done that before in case I could have pathed the Legion Loyalist. That would have been pretty good. I think I possibly... yeah, I couldn't have cast that anyway. They're empty-handed. I don't see the difference here between taking 11 versus 12. So I think I'm just going to ephemerate the coddle, hopefully draw land. All right, I mean, we could do it on the end step. I could... we still have outs like... I think we took out Lavinia, so I only have like Stonehorn as a top deck here. Yeah. All right, I'm taking damages. A lot of creatures on board. Blah, blah, deck. I've only got 2 or 3 of these in the whole deck. Don't make their Grafdigger's Cage actually good. Not sure we get out of this here, guys. Between drawing that cord and... all right, well, that was a... ooh. Night of Autumn. Well, I'd love to get rid of the Legion Loyalist. They're coming with 12 trample. 12 trample first strike. If I get Weather the Storm, you know, I gain 3 life and that's it. So I can blow this up and then go cord for something, but I can't cord for anything meaningful right now. I can make him a 4/3 and eat one of their creatures. Actually, it's not 12, right? It is actually 11, I think. I think I have to play Knight as a 4/3 and then just flash in Coatl. Or no, gain 4 life. and then block some stuff. I'll be at 8, and I can prevent 1, 2 damage. Means they're coming for 11, and I'm at 8. Don't think it's enough. Maybe I play the Ice Fang first, and then draw something else that would be meaningful, like a Deputy. Maybe a Path here, I guess, right? All right, Copper Spirits, thanks for joining me. I do my best. I'm running out of time though, and it's like a pretty bad spot, so I'm gonna hustle through this, and then we'll play fast in the next game. Oh, are they gonna play something so they can't buff their team? Come on, do it. They're gonna buff their team. I think we're out of it. I mean, whatever. You know what? I'm just gonna concede, and then I'm gonna run to the bathroom, and then we're gonna win game 3. I'll be right back, guys. So I do want to point out that was a mulligan to 5, and I think we came really close to stabilizing. I think the game would have been totally different if we were on the play. They did bring in Grafdigger's Cage, so I think I'm going to trim at least one call, and then maybe bring back in this Coiling Oracle, help get our early game going. Yeah, not bad at all. I think that was a really good performance, actually. I don't know if they have any non-creature spells, honestly. Like, they just want to buff their team and attack, right? They have Kadultha Rebirth, right? But honestly, it's not worth keeping Force in, I don't think. Let's bring back in the other Soulherder, and then what else do I want to bring in? I mean, maybe one Force just rounds it out. Maybe Teferi is better. I'll play Teferi. I don't know, bouncing creatures, drawing cards. That's a good call. I could have brought back in Lavinia. We'll see how it goes. We've got a lot of outs to this deck. Let's see what we can draw here. Got to play fast. Definitely keep. Snap keep. So I think I'm going to go turn 2, get back my land with Witness. But I guess we'll see what we draw. Could also just play Coatl out, but I like having lands in hand. Hitting our curve is like how we win the game, because our spells are just going to be bigger than the opponent's spells at a certain point. So if we draw any of our Celestial Purges or Paths or even like Worship, I guess, you know, provided we draw one more land between now and the end of the game, should be good. All right, opponent giving us a moment to collect ourselves. I am playing slower than I should be, but it's a fast matchup, and hopefully it's not going to be a big deal. I'm going to play fast though. I think I get basic planes off the Windswept Heath, and then when I get back to Windswept Heath, I can get basically either of the 2 Tangle lands, probably the Prairie Stream. If they bolt... Oh, they have Goblin Guide. Maybe that'll give us a land. Another Icefang Coatl. Or I could just get Death Touch online. I'm going to look to aggressively trade with any creatures that I can, because my hand is just like infinite value. So like if I can trade an Eternal Witness for a Goblin Guide, that's ace. All right, so let's just cross our fingers for no crazy Burning Tree Bushwhacker turn here. Even just avoiding like Legion Loyalist for a bit would be kind of nice. Ugh. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's ridiculous. At least the Burning Trees don't get to attack this turn, but everything's going to have First Strike and Trample now. Opponent does not attack. Jesus, that's like the one thing, the one kind of approach that could kill me there. I think I... Oh, man. Now I think we just want to dig, right? But at the same time, I can only play one spell then this turn. Well, our creatures are just dying anyway, so I think I do have to dig, like right now. Oh, okay. That's something. That's something. But it means I do have to get green off this, which is sketchy. I mean, I could get Breeding Pool, but I think Basic is probably better. Turn on Death Touch, but Legion Loyalist is just going right over the top with First Strike. Play some spells, opponent. Play some spells that don't do anything. Like Grafdigger's Cage, play 2 Grafdigger's Cages. It doesn't look like what's happening, actually. Yeah, okay. All right. So we gain 9 life, take a crap load of Trample First Strike, and we pretty much need to rip, if I'm not dead already, Stonehorn, something to that effect. Or just Path, I don't know, like... A land off Goblin Guide would be a nice start. Okay, all right. So blocking is just terrible here, right? So it's 9 plus 6 is 15. Taking 15 seems poor. But I can't kill any of their creatures. So it's like the same if I block now or next turn. So like probably better just to not block so I increase my chord ability, right? Next turn I'm going to be able to chord for 4. So I'm going to go down to 1 here, I think. Actually, I would off the attack, but I'm gaining 9, right? Oh, and then Witness can recast next turn. Or something? Let's see. Chord? Okay, Eternal Witness. If I'm not blocking, then... And I don't think I am. I should attack. I am running out of time. I guess I cast this now to guarantee it, right? Oh my god, get out of here. This is some nonsense. So what is it now? It's 9 plus 8, which is 17. So I have to block with both of these creatures? Leaving me at 15, if I counted correctly? Oh my god, I can't do it. I can't do it this turn. But I can do it next turn if we don't die, but I have to block. Oh, it's so bad. Opponent with the extra bushwhacker, guys. There's like not a lot we could have done about that. So they're coming at me for a lot. So I think we have to. So one, let's block here, and then we take 4. Yeah, we have to block. We have to block 2 things. It's terrible. We just need to not die, and then naturally draw our Stonehorn, and then kill the opponent before we run out of time. Oh, did I miscount? I must have miscounted. Oh, they have trample, of course. Oh, guys, that was such the nut hand out of them. That's ridiculous. I think I want to go back and just watch like how that unfolded. I won't waste your guys' time like with, but let's just like assess if they could have had anything better than what they had. Yeah, the trample got me there. All right. So I kept a good hand. Opponent, they started off with aggressive damage, like no summoning sickness. So that's probably the nuts right there. So nuts on turn 1. I got back my land. Pretty good for us, but they go Burning Tree, I think Burning Tree, right? No, just Legion Loyalist. So that could have been a Bushwhacker. That could have been a little bit better. But the fact that it's Legion Loyalist actually sets them up to do all this trample damage, right? So let me see if so they're coming in for 9. They're coming in for 15 on turn 3, which was pretty ridiculous. And that's all I really wanted to check was like, you know, what their turn 3 was again. Turn 2 was double Legion Loyalist. Sorry, double Burning Tree plus Legion Loyalist. And they obviously they had access to a Bushwhacker, so they could have just gone, and they probably should have gone, Burning Tree, Bushwhacker, get in for a ton of damage, and then play Legion Loyalist on the next turn. That just seems poor the way that they did it, right? Yeah, I mean, they should have done a kick Bushwhacker, and then... Oh, but I guess the way that they did it gives their creatures double buffs when they attack. So, I don't know. Oh, no, wait. It's only if it's kicked. And they didn't kick both of them the next turn. So, yeah, just much better to play a Legion Loyalist the next turn and then kick one Bushwhacker. They could have done like 20 more... Not 20, but a bunch more damage. Because they would have attacked with haste with 3-2 Burning Tree emissaries. I don't know. I'm having fun. I could run back one more match. I don't know if this is the same opponent or not, but we're just going to jump in. I mean, we died to the complete nuts, and we were it was played poorly even, and they still just wrecked us. And we had a great hand, you know? It's hard to beat like 8 creatures going like super wide like that with trample. All right. This is awkward, really awkward. Opponent's mulliganing to 6 as well. The hand is quite good if we draw any blue source. It's quite bad if we don't. We're already on a mulligan to 6. Like this is the kind of hand you kind of have to keep. Like the risk of going down to, or rather the percentage points lost to going down to 5 seems to outweigh the risk of, like, I have 8 fetch lands, a bunch of blue sources. So I think I'm going to keep this and bottom the 4-drop, even though it's currently the only thing that I can vaguely cast. And we'll get punished, and we'll lose the first game, and that'll be that. There is no space for Astrolabe in this deck. There's like zero space. There's not even space for Path to Exile in the deck. So, I mean, at least, you know, the way that I'm running it with Force of Negation and blue cards. So it should be a good matchup. Oh, and they're not playing a 1-drop. Oh, wait, no. Okay, so this could be humans or it could be Niv. And if it's Niv, we get wrecked. Niv is a really hard matchup, but I very, very fortunately drew a Mana Source here. So unless the opponent untaps and has like Lightning Helix, I think we should be sort of okay. Wait, no, this is definitely Niv, right? Because it's multicolor, right? No, it's only a creature spell. Multicolor is the other one. Cardboard should be showing. Oh, maybe I didn't update it. Sorry, guys. So it is human, so it should be a great matchup. So we kept it was risky, and now we get to get our game online. So I think here the best play is probably just like Coiling Oracle. Try to actually, since we don't have lands in hand, I think running Ice Fang out is slightly better. Then we can hit a land or an Ephemerate. Alternatively, I could have just deputied the Thalia, but she's not really bothering me right now. Opponent did mulligan to 6 as well, and they're not on Ether Vial. We did hit a land, which is awesome. But unfortunately, with limited blue, we can't cast another spell. But I'm really not complaining about being able to hit my lands after that particular mulligan that we had. So next turn, if we draw a land, if it's a blue source, we can go like Oracle into Soulherder or Oro or Oracle. I don't know. We've got options now. Well, now I can Ephemerate, but not if I drew it off the Ice Fang. So is this Reflector Mage bouncing Noble Hierarch? That would be an interesting play, but okay. I mean, that's sort of fine. It's pretty slow stuff from humans. I mean, we are gonna draw lands eventually, just like it just happens. Okay. Well, so not yet. So I think I can't play Hierarch because it got bounced by that dude. It seems like this is actually super clunky. Super duper clunky, but we're not dying, so I'm not that afraid, and I'm just gonna run out this this Eternal Witness for no value. And I'm not gonna block with the Ice Fang for nothing. So I am going to get in. I mean, opponent is getting us here. There's no doubt. They're taking advantage of our lack of blue mana. Are they going to name Hierarch with Meddling Mage? They're just going to go for damage. Which seems reasonable. I don't think it's not time to block yet. These creatures can get bigger in the future with like Thalia's Lieutenant. So set to take 7 here, and unfortunately, like we're losing what it should be a favorable matchup. Just getting wrecked. Just getting wrecked. This was the problem I knew I had with the mulligan, but we drew into the Hierarch, which was, you know, what we were hoping for. Some kind of blue mana. Opponent with another Reflector Mage, just to be, you know, kind of cute, I guess. I am going to block the Mantis Rider here. And I'm happy enough to take the other 4 damage. If they bounce the Hierarch, you know, we're so far behind. Yeah, the deck is pretty slim. I think that they're going to play out another Reflector Mage now, just be jerks. Or a Deputy or something. Whatever. Sometimes you get hands that line up well against, you know, what we're doing, but in this case, look, blue, 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 blue. We kept a hand with no blue. It's going to happen. I still feel like we're going to win the match because I do feel pretty favored against humans. They don't have a lot of ways to deal effectively with things like Stonehorn and Worship. So as long as we are not completely mono-screwed, I think we have a great chance in the matchup. So I do like Fog. I do like Veil. Let's keep these things off to the side. I do like Purge. Winds of Abandon. And Worship. I think I'll probably call it there. Could play Pithing Needle for Ether Vial, but I don't really think I want to do that. Cut all 4 forces. Like, the deck even gets stronger after sideboarding, because we get to cut, like, the 4 dead forces. And it wasn't a bummer. It's just those kinds of things happen. I kind of like all of our creatures. I do have to cut 2 cards, though. And some of our creatures are in very, very important chord targets, so I don't want to trim any chords. I think I can probably trim a Venser. Doesn't seem that relevant. And, I mean, Urian is a way that we just sort of close out the game, so I don't really want to trim Urian. Charming Prince can save creatures with chord. They're not really doing that. I think I'll trim the Prince. It's a little bit clunky in the matchup. Yeah, but I don't know. We don't really want to care about how big their creatures are. I think we want to stop them from attacking us at all. I can keep this. It's kind of terrible, but I can keep it. We can start off with the Vistas, just like getting our basics online. So maybe just getting the Temple Garden out now is better, I think. All right, so they're going to start with Ramp. Probably better for us than Ether Vial, I think. Ether Vial is like the best start out of them. Another Soulherder could be good if we draw another blinkable thing. So we'll see what the opponent does. But even if they play... I mean, we're just probably going to wait till end step to Coatl, just in case, so they can't, like, Reflector Mage it. If they Reflector Mage our Soulherder, that's going to be pretty gross. All right, so we're going to get punched for 4 here, which is unfortunate, but not a lot we can do about it. Now I know I'm in the clear, I can just go ahead and cast my Coatl. I'm not going to block. But I will have access to Death Touch eventually, and we will get to draw a card off of the Soulherder Blink. But it's turn 2, we have 2 lands and a creature on the battlefield. If we eventually draw Chord, it should hopefully be pretty good. All right. That wasn't the best draw. But no reason not to just play out one of these basic forests. Wait, I'm sorry. At what point? I guess I drew Deputy off of the Coatl, or Yeah, I guess I must have just missed that. I can take beats from Mantis Rider for another minute, and if they play a second Mantis Rider, I can deputy them both. So I think Soulherder is probably the play here. I'm sorry, Swizzy, what are you saying? Don't worry, they will? All right, let's go Cord. Let's go Stonehorn. Let's go Lavinia. Let's go Monodork. Sweet. I mean, Plague Soulherder here is fine. Draws cards. If they play out another... If they, like, bounce Soulherder, it's not a big deal. Are they... Oh, alright. See, this is nice. This is not just nice, but awesome. As long as they can't... Now, I can play Deputy, and I'm gonna block one of these things now, I think. Although, you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, I'll just take 9, you know? Like, I'm gonna play Deputy with Ephemerate backup, right? Yeah, and I can just draw a card off of Coatl. I like it. So I do need to get a white source here, so I'll probably go get Prairie Stream, even though it doesn't turn on Death Touch. Soulherder is going to get pretty thick here. How did we all know they were going to play more Mantis Riders? So something like a Cord here could pretty effectively lock it up. Siege Rhino is pretty good too. I don't have a basic Plains though. I have basic Swamp, unfortunately, so it's going to have to wait a little bit. I should probably, potentially want to add a basic Swamp. So if the opponent goes for you know what? They can, when they get their Phantasmal images back, they can copy Deputy, can't they? Yeah, they can copy Deputy. It's pretty gross. Didn't think about that. Oh. Huh. So it's their own Deputy. And imagine they have to go after our Deputy. Yeah, I kind of have to. No, we don't lose it. It's just what's going to happen is the opponent's going to get all of their creatures back. But we lose it anyway. You're right. They can copy stuff. We'll have to see how they play it out. But their Phantasmal images are going to go on the stack. Wait, what? What just happened? What? What? I'm not sure what's going on here. Where is... Oh, I'm getting back my... What? I'm getting back my Deputy from... Where did my Deputy go? Um, oh, it's on the stack in exile. It's up there. I guess it's a... Okay, you're right. It was just... So now, I guess I get to take both of their deputies, right? No, it will destroy. It will. So what are these guys targeting? Do we know? Oh, I have to put my target, and then they put their target. Huh. Yeah, I know. And it's gonna kill their stuff. Oh, wait, what just happened? Oh, they put theirs on the stack, and now I get to put mine on the stack? Oh, they're the active player, of course. Wait, so what are they targeting? This one and this one. And if I blow up one, the other one still resolves. So I guess I want to exile the Mantis Rider, but then it gets exiled anyway. It doesn't matter. They're gonna get it back. So I don't think this matters at all, right? Wait, what's even happening? Oh, there we go. I have to click up there. I guess I might as well just kill one of their deputies, right? So they're going to have an Exalted Mantis Rider. I can throw down another basic. It will have Death Touch. Yeah, I know they do. Oh, they do have a Soulherder trigger. I should have killed the Soulherder then. I sort of forgot that. Ugh, all right, that was just a mess. Yeah, I should have hit their Soulherder. But oh no, wait, they were. I thought they were both targeting. I'm so confused, guys. I'm so confused. They had two deputies. One of them was a phantasmal image, and one of them was not a phantasmal image. Oh, this is exalted already because they... I have to chump now. All right, this is over. Whatever. Well, hang on. Let's just block and say okay. They're going to deputy my Soulherder. Oi. I mean, we can still draw into... we can still draw into Stonehorn. Oh, hey, I get my rebound. That's kind of cool. Seems like getting rid of their Soulherder is kind of important. I mean, I could just die in the air, but I kind of need to get rid of their Soulherder. If I blink their deputy, I get back my Soulherder. Wait, hold on. If I take their deputy, I get back my Soulherder, and then I just chill, and then they don't really have anything super great to blink. I have another Soulherder in hand. I think I'm just gonna blink deputy, or just detain their deputy. So confusing. Oh, I can go get Siege Rhino now if I want. I can play Siege Rhino, but I go down to 3 to do it. But then I gain a bunch of life. Oh my god. What a crazy game this has been. And I'm sure that they have another Reflector Mage or something in hand. I'm sort of set to chump the Soulherder with the Noble Hierarch. Okay, well that's a good start, I guess. Reflector Mage. Do it, opponent. Have it. Oh, all right. Well, creatures are getting pretty big. We're running out of time, I think. It's kind of funny that this game is still going on, though. I was very ready to scoop. That fetch land was pretty clutch. All right, so we have to take the damage from the Mantis Rider. I don't have to take the damage from the Soulherder. They do get to blink like Athalia's Lieutenant on the end step, which is decent. Makes their creatures bigger, but we're at the sort of make or break point here. We need a Cord, we need a Stonehorn, we need a Lavinia. Yeah, Winds isn't out. Forgot I had Winds. Opponent is empty-handed at this point. Hey! 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 So, let's just do some quick math here. If I cord for, can I play Soulherder and still have enough to cord for, I think I do, I go 1, 2, 3, and then I've got 3 plus 4. So if I go like blue, white, green, and I've got green, 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 white, green, 3 plus 4. I do believe I've got it. About to do it right now. Windmill Slam. All right, Stonehorn Dignitary. Come to Papa. All right. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Now, the opponent's Soulherder is growing pretty big, but it can't attack anymore. We are ahead on clock. Yeah, having this Rhino feels pretty good. So they are two attack steps in the hole right now. You know what's cool? Watch what happens during their attack step. It actually tells us, I think, how many attack steps are left with Stonehorn. We do have an Ephemerate in the graveyard. So even if they draw Reflector Mage, we have a turn to wait that we can afford to wait with Stone, because we have 2 in the bag right now. Opponent just scooped. That's awesome. Let's draw some cards. Oh man, look at that gas. Jesus. All right, guys, we won that game. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's how it should go against humans. I guess that Venser is like interaction, so maybe it's okay. I'm happy that you're Swizzy, you're like the only guy in here that's talking, but you're having a pretty good time. So if I bring back in Venser, I can take out that deputy interchange was ridiculous, just crazy. I don't really know that I guess I can trim Urian, but it's like so good. I think Urian's better than Venser. I'll keep Venser out. Urian just eats Mantis Riders. All right, look at this hand. Look at this hand. All right. All right. I feel like I kind of want to just play this Overgrown Tomb untapped. And then like get blue or something with Prismatic Vista. I mean, it might just gain life with Night of Autumn, honestly. Like, all right, this is gonna. Oh, Dark Confidant. Huh. Well, I feel like we start with something that does something, right? Like Night of Autumn, and then we follow up with the Soulherder, right? Chord is gas. All right, guys, we're getting there. But we're not going to be able to cast the chord for a minute, so yeah, I gain some life. And then play Soulherder out. Keep building the board. I guess I get blue here. Blue's a little bit more relevant typically than white, but we do have white represented in hand. Opponent's going to draw some cards off this Dark Confidant, though, but I don't know if they can battle what we're dealing with unless they just have, like, consecutive, like, bounce dudes. I mean, what difference does it make? I mean, Soulherder is a 2/2 instead of a 1/1, but instead this turn we actually get to gain life. All right, so they drew an extra Thalia's Lieutenant. We're still ahead curve-wise with the Noble Hierarch. Imagine if I get to 5 mana with Urian. It would just be awesome. They're choked. They must be choked on mana, I think. Unless they're just slow rolling the mana and now they're going to play Thalia's Lieutenant. But I will happily trade with this Dark Confidant. All right, they get in for 4. I take it. Maybe this path represents like a this Plains represents Path to Exile, but I don't think double Soulherder, huh? Nah, we've already got something impactful. So you run out the impactful thing, you gain the life, you gain the time, and now, and then next turn, if I need to, I can play Witness getting back a land or something. Kind of feel like I need to get green. Actually, I don't have to cast this, crack this yet. No reason to crack it yet. So I want to leave up potential blocks, but I'm almost certainly not going to block. We can chord for 2 now, but that's not what we're looking to do. Come on, no path. Come on, no path. Come on, no path. All right, guys, we're 1 land away from a sick Urian here. We're also 1 land away from courting for Stonehorn. Opponent gets Phantasmal Image. We know they were choked on mana last turn. They just had 2 draws right now. Could have hit a land, but we know one of them is Phantasmal Image. They can Phantasmal Image the Soulherder. Doesn't really do too much. Or maybe they're going to Reflector Mage our Soulherder. Or no, they're just going for some damage in the air. Nah, we didn't attack. I didn't want to give the option to trade with Dark Confidant. Like, we have a Soulherder out. I want to get some value. The opponent's just chilling. They could have a lot of gas. Now, see, I mean, they're attacking with their Dark Confidant, so... we do want to chord, so I'm kind of happy to just take the damage here. So we're really preying on a land right now. If I had an Ephemerate, I could blow him out real hard by blinking something. but I don't. So I'm set to take 9 here, which seems fine. I guess I could just keep gaining life with the knight until then, so if nothing else. I think it's fine to just take the 9 here. Yeah, we need a land for that. So I guess the I have Urian in hand. Don't have to. I don't need to chord for Urian. I do want to draw land, so I'm not going to crack this. Deck. Deck. Super awkward. I don't think we're just dead, though, by any means. I can just, like... I mean, this guy's going to get bigger. You can't attack with the Dark Confidant anymore. I can always just chump with something. So I think now just getting Eternal Witness for the land... Yes, exactly. I think that's the play. Then we've got another body and another land. I guess I might as well get white at this point, just in case the Eternal... I'll get green for now, and then we can do white next turn if we feel like it. Okay. I kind of do like the attack now because I can blink the Eternal Witness and get some value. If the opponent wants to block with the Mantis Strider, actually, and we're just gaining life anyway, right? I think the attack is still like, I think I just want to pass on the attack. We're neutralizing this Mantis Rider by gaining 4 life every turn. And if need be, we can still chord for 2 in this spot, so that's something. Opponent draws a champ. Still not rushing to play a land out here. Maybe they're just... I mean, we're getting lucky that they're just backed up on lands, I think. We know that they have a, I think a Thalia's Lieutenant or something like that in hand. Reflector Mage, I mean, chord for 2 and get Prince, I think is the play, right? Unless I boarded out Prince, which would be fucking stupid. I did. I boarded out Prince. I've done that before, and just like, I never learned my lesson. The thing is, it's still not that big of a deal because I can still chord for, well, no, I need to draw land to be able, no, I should still be able to chord for, the big fat elephant next turn. But I don't want to chord for Coatl, right? Because I want to chord for the elephant. Am I dead here? I'm not dead on board. So let's let them bounce Soulherder. We'll chord for Stonehorn, and then we'll just chill a little bit, right? Yeah, I mean, look, right here, 1, 2, 3 plus 4, right? That's chord. And we have 7 plus, that's 10 coming in. I can crack the Vista. I don't really care. The difference between like 3 and 2. I mean, I do have to crack the Vista anyway, so whatever. So as I was saying, I think I'm going to get white in this spot. We're getting much closer on time unnecessarily. Deputy is decent. I think I'm just going to chord just like right now, basically. Although maybe I let them play out whatever they want to play out, and then we chord, right? I hit another champion of the parish. Let's see what they play out. Oh, they did find a land. So we're just hoping that they don't have, like, we just need to get down some blink next turn. Like, we can just go Urian. It looks like they're not going, like, any hold up mana for Reflector Mage or anything, so let's do it now, huh? Green, 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 boop-a-doop-a-doop-doop. Done. And we're getting Stonehorn, the most dignified elephant. Actually, he's a rhinoceros, right? All right, they know we have a Soulherder. We might. Oh, are they going to copy what? My Reflector Mage, I guess. Doesn't matter. I guess it kind of matters. It kind of matters. Kind of matters. Well, that's obnoxious. Okay. Well, now we can't get another attack step in the bag, which is problematic. I can go. They have Thalia now, so even if I get Cord back, it doesn't do a ton. So if I play an Eternal Witness, I can Cord for 2, but only 1 because of Thalia. I can play a Deputy. Actually, I could play Urian, Blink and gain life. I think Urian, Blink, gain life, and then chump a little bit is like our only hope. But it's not really much of a hope because they have a pretty big attack. And I think we're just toast, guys. I mean, I do get Cord back though. I wish I could Cord for Fog. That would be nice. Maybe I should play a Cordable Fog creature. Now that we're playing Cord, I haven't thought about that. That's awesome. I'm gonna add that to my sideboard. Instead of Fog, I'm gonna add the creatures that you can sack to get a Fog effect. So imagine here being able to Cord for like a Kami of the whatever. You know what I'm talking about, guys? There's like Kami of the last whatever, and you can sack it to prevent damage to your creatures. Or like, I mean, combat damage. That's an awesome Cord target, actually. Like, it would just be insane here. I even have triple green. I mean, they have like 6 Thalia's lieutenants. I'm probably dead. Yeah, there's the green one is a Spore Frog. The white one is one of the commies. Commies, it sounds like a communist. This is super unfortunate. Like, this Bob just kind of buried us this game. Yeah, I might even add that into the main deck. I don't know. It's probably sideboard material, but it just seems like such a sick idea. So, let's line up some blocks. We can't do anything because this is, yeah, whatever. Opponent, I feel like that's pretty lucky, honestly. I mean, they had the early Bob and they didn't. And we didn't deal with it. GG's opponent. It does kind of seem good in the main deck, doesn't it? I think I might even have one of these commies. I know I have them in paper. No, nothing. Pretty sure I don't have Spore Frog. So yeah, we'll definitely go for the Spore Frog. Well, thanks, Swizzy. I appreciate it. I did my best, but they had like 20 cards. Like, we couldn't really get through it. Go bots. I do love this idea though, because last time when I was running Fog, particularly for like prowess, I wasn't running Court of Calling. So I was running Eladamri's, so getting like Spore Frog onto the battlefield in time, not realistic. There's some other ones too, I think, but like, I think there's one more white creature or 2 more white creatures that have the same effect. But Spore Frog in green is going to be the best for us. Not exactly. I think I clicked on the wrong binder by mistake. Hold on. Oh, no, no, no. Why is it not letting me select my trade binder? Maybe it doesn't exist anymore. Hang on a second, guys. Blah. MTGO is so clunky. Yes, they are. Honestly, I need to revisit this sideboard because it's an old sideboard. But Burrington has been amazing. What am I doing? I'm checking my trade binders. Wait, what? Trade binders. Nah, I guess it went away. And let's just add some random number of tickets there. So Burrington, I was starting to say Burrington as a 1-drop was often like going to be the best possible cord target in a lot of situations, like against I don't know what's going on. Oh, I'm already in a trade somehow. I thought I closed this. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, new binder. Anyhow, like against Burn or something, you can go get Burrington, throw it in front of like a Swift Spear, and then, you know, sack it to counter a Lightning Bolt. It's just kind of bonkers. All right, so we're finally going to have access to our Spore Frog. Let's go. MTGO slows down after a little bit. So we'll just like be patient, wait for this. Okay. Spore Frog. Also, I think Spore Frog has kind of cool art, so it's a little frog just hanging out. Look at this frog, guys. He's like the froggiest. Okay, cool. We got it. It cost 5/1000ths of a tick. I could buy, I think if my math is correct, I could buy 200 of these for 1 ticket online. Sporefrog.tech. Frog champ. All right, let's get that frog in there. I don't think I'm going to start within the main, but we can stay alert for situations when it would be sick in the main deck. Let's go Spore Frog. There we are. All right, and I'm definitely going to get Burrington in there. Burrington. Let's go. All right, so add that to the sideboard. It's massively amazing. It's like so fascinating, right? It's like this stupid 1-drop. Fog is a real effect. You guys like, not you guys, but Magic players like think they know everything, right? So like they know what the tier decks are. They know what the tier deck, what is not a tier deck, and they know what cards are played typically, and any card that's not played is garbage. Fog is so busted. Like if you get this against Prowess and you can just recycle it, like they're just gonna lose. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't want to add the swamp. I would sooner like play birds instead of Noble Hierarch, honestly. Like basic swamp feels terrible when you've only got literally 1 black symbol in your whole deck. So I'm not going to add a swamp. I'm going to diversify my dorks. I do appreciate the reminder, though. Let's go. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, Spore Frog, I don't think quite makes the main deck, but in any aggro deck, it's like insta add. Also, imagine, oh my god, imagine Spore Frog against that red deck that we lost to earlier. Oh, that's so good. Like, I'm pretty sure we had situations where we had a chord in our hand, but we couldn't chord for like Stonehorn because we didn't have the resources, but we could have chorded for Spore Frog. Man, I love it. I love it. I love that I thought of Fog. I love that it reminded me of Spore Frog. Spore Fog. Get it? All right, so we trim the Fog, and then obviously I have to trim something else. Teferi is fun, but against control, we've got the forces in this build. We've got the Venser. Yeah, Spore Frog is just like, it's crazy. Like, I'm so thinking about Fog and leading to Spore Frog is awesome because we get to bring it in, and now we run 4 copies of it because of Chord of Calling. So it's just busted, and like Eternal Witness. Like, there is no way that humans could have beaten Spore Frog in that spot. Weather was actually decent today. It's a card that we've trimmed in the past. I do have a bunch of life gain. I can easily just go down to 1 for sure, which squares us up at 15. Remember, we are just like revisiting an old sideboard here, pre-Chord of Calling. So, you know, I don't have like a Scavenging Ooze. If I go look at like my Urian lists, look at the difference, right? This is all Silver Bullet creatures. I don't love Magus now that we don't have Astrolabe and only like 2 birds. But and yeah, it's like all these creatures are kind of whatever, particularly like I don't need Eidolon if I've got the 4 forces. So I think we can safely, I mean, maybe Collector Oof has a slot, or deserves a slot, I should say. Like if we take out Weather the Storm and bring Collector Oof back in. Magic has been around so long that you can type the word collector and get more than 1 card. Like Collector Oof and Sin Collector. Yeah, Collector Oof is a good one. I mean, even if you're running Astrolabes, but it hits a pretty wide variety of decks from Tron to Ad Nauseam to just artifact decks. All right, so we took out all of the Weather the Storms, you know, in favor of So, you know what? Like, I mean, we're learning multiple things today, right? Like, so I learned against Tron that, you know, once you get to a certain point and you're blinking things, you should be only concerned with trying to get multiple answers. Like, I managed to win against Tron in the replay I showed earlier because they didn't have 2 threats. But I could have easily had 2 answers if I blinked the right creature. But also learning, I guess, Spore Frog. That was a sweet thing to learn about. But yeah, I don't know. That 60 cards feels pretty good. If you want to draw certain cards very consistently, then obviously 60 cards is going to be the way to go. You can see that, you know, you have to trim things. Like, I only have space for 1 path in the main deck. I was going to say, I also remembered, I got reminded that Charming Prince should pretty much never get cut. Because as soon as you cut it, you're going to get punished. Like, if the opponent went for Reflector Mage in that last game against humans, if I had Charming Prince in the deck, I would have won. I would have blinked the Stonehorn Dignitary, and it would have been on the board, and I would have played Soulherders, and it just would have been lights out. So yeah, don't sideboard out Charming Prince. Just don't do it. It's a bad idea. Pithing Needle is like this card that, you know, you take out of your sideboard and then you play it again and you're like, this card is so good. Like, I played against Tron and I got to name Karn and I got to name Ugin, and like taking those powerhouse spells offline with 1 little card is pretty awesome, I think. You know, if they get empty-handed, for example, and one of their top decks becomes more threatening, you can play Urian and blink the Pithing Needle to like rename something. The counter spells against Tron felt good. They're really important for that matchup. So yeah, anyhow, it's tightening up again. I'll have to update the list for my pins in the Discord. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We lost to humans, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, Charming Prince, it's like, I was just thinking gain 3 is kind of meh against humans. A 2/2 kind of meh against humans. Scry 2 is like whatever. But cording for the blink is pretty bomb. Particularly since we don't have like Restoration Angel in the deck. Yeah, so Charming Prince, don't sideboard him out. I did beat humans like yesterday or maybe earlier today with Worship. I think this card is pretty broken. It's a really, really good out against Burn, which is obviously a difficult matchup. So Swizzy, I know Ashiok is great. We would like to be able to have some hate against graveyard decks. My approach in the past, I recall, was like against Dredge, for example. Like we just want to go for stuff like Worship and not really worry about needing things like Ashiok, or courting for obviously Stonehorn or Lavinia. I like the really cheap spells. Like they just seem to do a great job. Ceremonious Rejection, Veil. I mean, sort of. On the play, it has some game against Tron, but I think on the draw, it's kind of poor against Tron. Anyhow, guys, thanks very much for joining me today. I thought I was just going to show you a quick, fun replay of Tron. Kind of got sucked in with running 60 again. I did get to cast Urian a couple times today, and it felt really good in the main deck. I did actually get to chord for it at some point at some match today, or I guess it must have been today, and it felt excellent. Like think about that value, like 4 creatures on the board, cast your Ryan, now you've got a massive flyer, you're getting something back from the graveyard, you're drawing cards. Yeah, Swizzy, you too. Thanks to everybody else.